But then we're one little place, but you think about, what about some other places and other?
I mean, honestly, the 9 days of voting,
I don't
you
know
could
why-
probably go in and get the numbers from DeWitt, cause it will probably
It
tell you
never had
votes,
been-
like, how many votes somebody has.
I thought
don't
about
know,
for a
cause
long
I
time.
don't,
I don't think they,
Why
I
they
don't think
didn't,
they're supposed to do that.
I don't
clean
know.
that out.
Cause it
Brenda,
creates
when you
keep
guys
the
end your 9
weeds.
days of voting, like next,
Okay.
that Monday you
Yeah.
work, do you know like how many votes are for Trump, how many votes are for?
No,
Okay,
well,
I didn't know if you knew
It
that.
is not allowed
Okay.
anywhere, I'm sure.
No.
But what I'm saying is in a crooked place.
He can't do
in
it because
Potosville,
his vote
like they
will
said,
not
I
go
just heard
into
this on the news
water
yesterday, I think it was,
that's
like
that
Georgia's early voting.
Now,
It's shallow.
The
Mike has a
hugest
vote
ever.
that he can take in
Huge.
there and start.
Is that
to
all they do
get
is
some
early
of those
voting?
out of
No,
Okay.
they have,
But it's a-
and it's so weird,
it's a long
every place
process.
is different.
Yeah.
And my friend
anyway.
worked in
Well, like I
North
said,
Carolina 2
I
days
can
ago,
remember
she
in
ran
57,
the
and they were the
early
same as they
elections,
are
and she
now.
said, the line,
Except for where they,
miles.
where they used to
They couldn't even
clean
get
it
them all in,
themselves.
it was just.
Sometimes we'll be
But there was the
busier at that
McGonigal
counter
boys
than they are this
and
precinct.
the Bennett boys and. the
Registering
Miller boys.
people to vote the day
The
of.
students come and they change their address and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And throw
But
it in the lake.
I'll be surprised if the turnout isn't high.
Pull the weeds out from
I'm
the
okay, we
farmer's
didn't do
house.
it, we were gonna
Yeah,
max treat for 2 or 3 days. Just, I was all ready for doing what we were gonna do, but it didn't happen. And I'm not sure I like it, but
All right, so we're doing budget first.
I don't handle that very well.
Karen is not here, so we can't even start.
God, I wish you'd be on time.
She's with Lizzie, the attorneys.
Ryan, you getting a late start.
Oh, listen. Off the record, I may have sped up a little bit to get here.
We're live, just so everybody knows. It's recording already. We're live already.
We're live.
We're
Just
live.
kidding, people of Bath Township.
Oh,
I need to give you mine too.
I'm not in charge of these, but okay.
Oh, wait, but you still work.
I'm sorry. That's okay, I'll take them and put them in my drawer.
Okay.
Make sure my stuff is turned on.
Everybody over there ready? Okay.
I have a special meeting.
Yeah, where is it? I did not get it. I just got it.
All right, good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Got our act sort of in order here. We're coming together here today for the Bath Charter Township Special Board of Trustees meeting with the topic of the budget. We'll call the meeting to order here just a smidge late. And let's do the roll call.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
I'm here.
Ms. Butler Challenger here. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Hagerman?
Here.
Ms. Kellerman?
Here.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Here.
Mr. Phillips was absent this evening.
All right, next up on our agenda is to do civic reflection. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance and end with a moment of silence. So stand if you're able and join us in the pledge. And now a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, first on the agenda for action here tonight is approval of the agenda. I have not heard any changes from folks, especially for this special meeting agenda. Is there any thoughts, changes, or should we go ahead and move this one forward?
Make a motion to accept it as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? I didn't say aye, but I'm for.
Okay.
All right, motion carries. How about disclosures of conflict of interest? Any of those tonight? All right, seeing none, We'll start with public statement 1. This is the first time tonight that the public's able to provide a statement up to 3 minutes that is designated for statements concerning the agenda, which is the budget tonight. There's a second opportunity for public statement later in the meeting for folks to say anything for up to 3 minutes. And then in our regular meeting, there will be an additional 2 opportunities for public statement. I see Judy has taken to the lectern. Would you like to start?
Yes, I thought I was invited. My name is Judy Gardy. I serve as chairperson of the Senior Services Advisory Board. And tonight you will be discussing the budget for the senior center. On page 27, I note that the Finance Committee has recommended an increase in the meals from $4, which everyone pays no matter where they live, to $5 and $6. I would imagine that $6 is for people who live outside the township. I hope that there's careful consideration about the revenue that we're raising by selling the meals at $4. It's a fair price which people can afford. On page 28, under the notes, I guess you might call it, I see it says 702. Reduce the days of week, reduce to 3 days per week from 5. We worked really hard to get that 5 days a week. We feel it's really important for people to have a place to go in the summer when it's really hot, in the winter when it's really cold. One of the huge advantages of the senior center, and we have a great senior center, is that socialization is so important to people of that age, and having the center open 5 days a week allows for not only opportunities to learn through educational programs, but also have the opportunity to engage with each other through socialization, things like card playing. So I would ask that you please reconsider, please consider maintaining the senior center at being open 5 days a week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy. Anybody else want to give public statement? All right, seeing none, we'll jump into item 6, new business. Items for discussion and introduction, 2025 budget review. Hopefully folks have been able to see the budget. We went through, I think, the first 20 pages a couple of weeks ago. The budget can be downloaded from our website if the proposed budget can be downloaded from the website if folks want to follow along. All right, should I turn it over to you, Madam Superintendent?
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we ended last time, I believe we went through page 19. And that took us through Parks and Recreation. Moving into page 20, it takes us into, I'm sorry.
We, that's 17.
This is the right one.
Yeah, but we left the, we didn't go to,
I thought we did
To
go through
finish the
everything
roads.
in the general fund.
I had a question on it about the roads.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted 200,000 put on it.
Yep.
You said this was gonna be,
Okay.
at next meeting.
So I can turn back to that. I did ask the road commission late about, it's $27,000 per mile to chip seal next
Yeah.
year. I don't know the approximate amount of miles that would be chip sealed. I don't know if you do.
I don't know what they would
okay.
suggest, but they, any that we can do protects that road for another
Correct.
5 to 10 years.
So what I'm saying to you is it's my fault there's not an answer.
Oh.
That's on me. I asked late and he has not provided me with that answer. I don't know how you want to take that moving forward. If you'd like to look at that again, the evening that we look at the budget, for public, hearing and adoption on the 18th. I know that's late, but,
Do you have benefits information now?
I do. It's actually, I think we're at 7.5% increase.
Ooh, that's good news.
It is good news. I heard that when I was over at SCUMA, I heard the numbers were out, so I emailed and I believe it's 7.5%, which I calculated using a 13% increase, so that will also lessen the burden on the township.
So that's 2 things, so we probably should have a chance to just connect before we do the public hearing
Okay, we can do that.
in the same meeting, I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
if it's okay with you, I'll bring that back on the
That's fine.
18th, as well as the benefits. Okay.
That's great news, man.
So looking at page 20, operating transfers out, this is predominantly to public safety as well as the senior center. Public safety is estimated at $618,000, and the senior center is at almost it's $115,000, almost $116,000 for a total out of the general fund of $733,000 out to those two departments. Moving down the page, you're gonna see the public safety fund. Estimated revenues, you'll notice in the two columns to the right-hand side, $2.3 million. That is an increase that was approved by the voters to increase the public safety millage.
Thank you, voters.
Yes, thank you, voters. And down below, the operating transfer in that I just discussed, for a total of $2.9 million going into police and fire.
So even with the upgrade, we're still taking 618,000 from general fund?
Correct.
And putting it over? Okay.
And that is with the cuts that I made as well as the finance committee made to bring that cost down.
I imagine that the benefits cost will bring this down a couple, maybe
Yes, that will be helpful as well.
5 digits? Because the 618 is near what you're asking us to take out of the fund balance, right?
Correct.
I have that somewhere.
I feel like that's pretty large difference between the superintendent's budget and the finance committee budget.
Yeah, so they made additional cuts
Okay,
to the budget, to the police and the fire budget.
and how are they just have to absorb that themselves out of their own planning?
I can, if we want to flip to those pages, we
Oh,
can go through those changes, and you can ask questions as we go, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you'll see here is salaries for the police department. This no longer reflects the department ask, so you're not gonna see what the chiefs asked for. But what you will see is what I did, with the cuts I made and then the cuts that the finance committee made. So moving up in salaries, the union collective bargaining agreement calls for their salaries to move. And this is a $1.12 million just for staffing. Part-time salaries, you're seeing at about approximately $6,000. Staff salaries, which would be the two ladies that work the front office, they are at $123,000 approximately. And the chief's salary, due to some shortages, we do have a couple of people that are gonna have some medical procedures done at the end of this year, and then if you're looking down, if you move down to 730, which is uniforms, the finance committee made an additional cut to that of $5,000, taking it to $15,000. Other recreation programs, you'll notice that number actually increased. That is due to the payment that we are offering to the Clinton County SOT team. As you approved earlier this year, you approved $10,000 to go to that group this year and $5,000 to go to that group in 2025. The other $2,000 is for Metro narcotics at Clinton County. You'll also note that in contractual and professional services from my budget and the finance committee, that also went up, and that is to assist with the, not only legal fees in that aspect, but also for an assessment of police and fire, which I'm requesting that we have, you're fine. A consultant come in and assess police and fire to see if we are right-sized in the amount of police officers that we have based on the population and the calls that we receive. And as well, in the fire department, based on, they have part-time firefighters as well as some full-time staff, as well as some vehicle requests. So that is being split equally for the consultant between police and fire. Hiring expenses was decreased. Moving down to gasoline and fuel, of course, we never know year to year what kind of consumption there will be and what the prices will be like, so that was decreased. It could in fact still go up based on next year's costs. and usage, but we'll do our best to control that as we always do. In addition, there is repair and maintenance for vehicles. You have tonight, we're asking to dispose of a couple of vehicles. We are also putting new vehicles online. Hopefully that will help decrease our vehicle maintenance costs. In repair and maintenance other, line 935, that has been cut because the chief had requested, let me find my note here, an update of the squad room furniture layout and conference table. That was reduced $20,000, I believe, by the finance committee. No, it looks like 20, maybe 21.5, 20. So that was reduced. As well, you'll see a red line, which is 955.301. That is a line that's been added for the police canine. As you are all aware, our previous canine officer passed away, and they would like to continue the program. So this would be the cost for obtaining a dog, getting the training, and then taking care of the dog throughout 2025. The other costs are on par with where they were in 2024. Which takes you with a recommendation by the finance committee for $2.2 million for the police department. Are there questions on the police department? Cal?
I got one on the uniforms.
Okay.
I see in our stuff through the agenda, the chief is gonna leave. I don't think that the next chief is gonna be the same size. I think we're gonna end up
That's
with
possible.
a lot more, than this cut. I think
Okay.
we should keep it the same anyway.
Okay.
I don't think the chief's included in that. This is part of the
His-
union
I think
negotiation.
his, but I do think that
The uniforms are
uniform
all,
would come out of here for the chief.
Do you think it's gonna be $5,000?
No.
No, I mean, and they've only spent 11,000 or so this year, right?
Yeah, we reduced it out
So-
because we were told that there would be likely less hiring next year, so there would be less need.
surprise.
Well,
Well,
beyond the chief, the individual, folks on the team. Ultimately, we're bound to have to do this regardless, so whether we put 15 or 15,000, if we have to, if we hire more
always
people, we
change.
have to.
Yeah.
Cause it's part of the agreement.
Correct.
And I guess it's part of the chief's agreement, I didn't realize either. So a couple of these you'll see in there that's like, we estimate it'll be low. If it does come back higher, we're sort of forced to do it anyway, so Karen would bring that back to us
As a
to
budget
say,
amendment.
we need to adjust this line.
But when you start taking these numbers off, it gives us a false number of what we're budgeting.
We believe it gives a better number.
yes.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you're right,
Yeah.
we'll see.
It never seems to work out that way.
So the
Last year it did.
The current year-to-date, we're at $11,904. So a little bit
And we're
more
in
than what
October.
is indicated here, but still less than the 15,000 that we've budgeted for next year.
And they budgeted 25, and that's an over budget. And we're trying to come in closer to an actual number instead of just putting a high number out there for somebody. We want actual. That's why we chose to go down. It gives a more realistic number, I think.
I'd be also happy to add that my experience negotiating police contracts and having to know how much things cost, it is not $5,000 to outfit a new officer, even if it's a chief. So the difference perhaps would be your hiring questions for the greater population as opposed to just the chief. I don't think, I'm not speaking for the numbers where they landed, but I am telling you it is not $5,000 to outfit a chief with certainty.
Yeah, I think most of the things in this budget that we moved down were things that should we need more, we are forced to do more. And so it was sort of a safe place for us to estimate lower. The difference in that though is the, squad room. We just thought that this wasn't the year to do that because Karen had already cut 1.6 million or something from the budget, so we're not trying to get to an austerity budget, but it's also not an abundance budget.
Other thoughts on that? As with the last meeting, I will ask for a voice vote just to get some consensus on this budget. So all those in favor of approving, I wouldn't say approving, consensus on this department, budget, say aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Moving into page 23, nope, 24, is the fire department budget. So you will see here, salaries is less than what is budgeted in this current year. They also asked for 2 additional full-time employees. I did not approve that pending the assessment that's going to be done for police and fire. I would say we can wait until we have a better idea of what right size might mean for that department based on our population and the calls that we go on. Moving down to benefits, which is 714, I approximately left this where I believe it is at 2024. The Finance Committee cut an additional 20,000 from that line for 145, which if you look at current numbers, we're at approximately $100,000, and that is with the full-time employees, the fire marshal, and the chief, all receiving benefits. Office supplies was also reduced by the Finance Committee by about half. Operating supplies, the same. They reduced that by approximately $2,000 to $5,000. Moving down to their uniforms, 730, went from my recommended 7,500 down to 3,000. That is similar to the police department. If they needed more there, we would approve an expenditure. The next area cut by the Finance Committee was telephone, and that's moving it from $8,000 down to $6,500. As you can see, we're not even quite to $5,000 at this point in the year. The rest of the lines were held by the Finance Committee to my recommendation for a total of, I'll go back. Vehicle replacement, they did request $200,000 in that line. I did not approve that, nor did the Finance Committee restore it. And it's my opinion that we still have not looked at the cost of financing the 2 vehicles that were requested this year. And so until we make a better decision about that, I would ask that you hold that, or it's this board's choice if you'd like to restore that money. Thoughts on vehicle replacement?
I think ultimately, what's misleading about this budget is we wouldn't be spending this 200,000. Basically, we would just be allocating fund balance so that it only can be spent this way. So in many ways, it wouldn't flow through the budget anyway. We'd just take a vote saying $200,000 that's already in the fund balance would now be, what's the word for it?
Committed.
Committed.
Committed. You will have that opportunity at the end of this year as well. There's $200,000 there
Yeah.
budgeted. So at the end of this year, we could also go through that exercise and commit that money to the purchase of vehicles.
Yeah. Because ultimately, it wouldn't, you'd never show that we spent the 200
Correct.
in the budget, so it's really not a budget thing. It just dawned on me as we were talking about it.
Other thoughts, Al? I see your face. You look like you're thinking.
Well, I'm thinking in the past. Yeah, we didn't vote on the senior advisory committee, right, or the senior?
Not yet, no. That's after this.
Because it was on the top of that other page, okay. All
So-
right, I got you.
Okay, so based
I'm
on
through
that,
thinking.
okay, you're through? Based on that, those in favor of this department's budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. So an area that you will see is the operating transfer out. This is, in the past has been $6,700. I recommended $7,000, but it's the cost that offsets.
The other thing I think that's helpful to know, Karen, is that this fund has a pretty healthy fund balance.
It does have a healthy fund balance, you are correct.
Thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't.
Used to be,
The last time it was changed, I believe, might have been 13 or 14. I did the cost estimates based, for the last clerk, Kathy McQueen. So I think it's been some time since they've been increased.
Let's see, cemetery fund balance is like 134.
wow, it's dropped a lot.
I don't think it was ever at 300.
Yeah, it was, because when I first, 8 years ago.
Did we spend that on the computer programs to get us
And that could
updated?
have been.
$150,000.
I don't think we spent that on that. I mean, that was,
I don't know, I
the
don't know how much computer
computers
programs
were,
cost.
well, it was installed before me. It just wasn't being used, but when I got here in 2020.
But the other thing
But
y'all are
it-
talking about is a mausoleum?
That's a different conversation.
Right,
That'll
but
be later
that
in the
money
year.
would be parked
We-
there
if we look
that
into
we
that,
could
we
spend
agree,
for
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So moving on to page 27, you have the estimated revenues for the senior center. Based on the cost estimates that I provided, with the meals increased to $5 and $6. Excuse me, I was estimating approximately $50,000. The Finance Committee is estimating, based on their recommendation, $52,260. That is predominantly the revenue source in addition to the transfer in from the general fund for a total of $169,700. Total to operate it is based on the market and usage, so it's unclear how much of that will be used.
So the salaries, what is that for?
So salaries is for it's for 4 people that work in that department. The senior center coordinator is, so it's 4 people. It's 3 people in the kitchen, and it's the person that takes the lunch money and calls bingo. So there's 4 staff members there, and that's for them.
But doesn't that already happen 3 days a week, just in terms of kitchen work?
Correct, but what we are
Okay.
paying now is the addition of 2 more days of making sure that it's open and staffed.
But that,
Through a schedule of taking turns to staff it on Tuesday and Thursday.